So, on the last episode, we were looking at how AI is affecting society and work and things like that. But work doesn't just apply to offices, factories, things like that. It also applies to what we touched on with coding and stuff, but also for arts and entertainment. That is also a type of work, even though it's a creative type of work. So, today we're going to have a look at how AI is affecting that. Hi, I'm Rob.
And I am a arts and crafts pleb, also called Rob. I just think it's boring when someone says, hello, I'm Rob, and I'm Rob too. So I'm going to mix it up. I'm an arts and
That's
crafts
fine.
pleb today,
That's fine.
which is
Today,
which is
t-
which is relevant. I feel.
today, I'm assuming you're in goblin mode then.
No, I'm fine.
Anyway,
I'll never be in
yeah,
goblin mode. But go on. What are we talking about
yeah.
today?
We are talking. It's our continuing look at AI. Now, I just want to specify because some people may be a bit confused as to how we're approaching this, and that we're not going into like really fine, granular detail about all sorts of things. This is more of a broad overview of things because there are plenty of people who look at AI in the minutiae. We wanted to take a much broader approach because it is a broad subject and there are a lot of things that AI affects all over the world. And neither of us are computer experts, but we have a lot of experience in looking at how media and technology affect people and places and work and things like that. We have a lot of experience in that field. So we think it's better for us to take a broad view and approach it from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're looking at arts and entertainment and how AI is affecting the art world, music, drawing and painting. It can't. This is the thing, right? Let's start off with art as art, yeah. And we've seen loads of AI slop artwork out there. There's loads of it, and it's being used in all sorts of ways. Even advertisers have started using AI art.
Coca-Cola in
Yeah,
particular. That's not
Coca
AI
Cola with
art
that.
in particular, but
No,
in
I
the
mean,
AI
but
art phrase, there's like a movie from I don't know, I think it was 2014 called Late Night with the Devil.
yeah,
It's got David Dastmalchian as sort of a daytime, evening sort of Jay Leno style TV host, which has an interview with somebody who's basically possessed by the devil. Sorry, spoilers, but in
so
that
I
there
mean,
was a few occasions where sort of like the links for adverts were used using AI art, and
yeah, you can see it a mile away. You can spot it straight away.
it was like a picture of some night owls,
Yeah.
and suit you, sir. It was absolutely rough.
Well, I mean, look at the
Oh
Coca-Cola
gosh,
advert over Christmas and
yeah.
just how sloppy that was.
Hmm.
And I and this is the thing. AI art is trained on images, thousands upon thousands of images that have been created by people.
It's theft.
Yeah, it is purely theft. And there is no way to sugarcoat it. That's literally what it is. But because companies are using it like that, they're also not employing artists to do a particular job.
Well, there's this sort of like mental divorce, really. You'd think it'd be independent artists who do this.
Hmm.
Think, okay, I have limited budget. Let's use AI art to expand my scope, do something that I wasn't able to
Yeah,
prior.
yeah,
But that's not the case. It's the super rich and the mainstream studios that are using AI art. There was that series on Disney Plus. I think it was Secret Wars or something
oh yeah, 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 yeah,
that
yeah,
that used AI art for the entire intro sequence. And
yeah,
that's a studio which can afford to pay artists. It can
yeah,
afford to play like all the sort of technical people who do that, but they didn't,
yeah.
and they used AI art and AI generation instead.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here, just a tiny bit here, because I feel that because of the way that these machine learning large language models, I'm going to start calling them uh, MLMs. Let's call them MLMs rather than AI, because they're not AI. We know they're not AI. They're just machine learning language models. That's all they are. So MLMs for short. Yeah,
Less tasty than M&Ms as well.
yeah, MLMs. Let's call them that. Let's coin it and spread it so that they're defined as they actually are. They're just machine learning language models, MLMs for short, right? So these MLMs, they've been trained on all these thousands upon thousands of art, of works of art, and yes, they they are they are literally stealing. But then you have situations like who was it who made Baldur's Gate 3?
Larian Studios.
Larian and the studio that made Claire Obscure. Now, Larian and that studio in particular, I'm focusing on because they received a lot of backlash for admitting that they used AI art before they were even at kind of the first stages of the creation process. So what they were doing, it's kind of like, when we made the film, you went and put together a mood board.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like pre mood board status, I would say, or even just at the mood board status, where you're looking for inspiration for a particular thing. Now, Larian said that their AI was trained on art that they owned, that was created for them, and it was trained on that to give them inspiration for their artists. So it was their artists actually using AI to create these pieces that would either inspire them or influence them to create new artwork for themselves. And they actually went on to hire more artists, not less. And the developers of Claire Obscure, kind of the same process. They were creating pieces that using AI that would be used kind of like a mood board type thing. Now, in that, I'm not sure which model they used or whether it was work based on any artwork they owned. I know Larian's was, or at least that's what they've said. But in that kind of situation where you're just looking for inspiration to create something of your own, is it allowable or is it not? Because what you're looking for is inspiration.
Allowable's a funny phrase.
Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I do.
If all you're looking for is inspiration, you're going to be looking at hundreds, possibly thousands of images of a particular thing, or maybe you have an idea in your head and you're tracking through Google Images trying to find something that fits that picture that you've got in your head. So, are these MLMs useful? I've got to train myself out the habit of calling it AI now. Are these MLMs useful in that situation where they save you looking through, where you can put a prompt in and say, "This is the kind of image I want to create. This is what I'm seeing in my head." Give the machine the prompt that you have, and it creates an image based on what you're putting in, and it's drawing from loads of
Well,
different things. But this is the thing: you still have to create that image. You can't
there's
use that.
there's a YouTube, an Instagram channel. I don't know
Hmm.
whether he does it any further, but he basically he does a piss take of Bob Ross,
Yeah.
but he says let's create some AI art, shall we? And he puts this. He says, nice. I can smell the lack of soul in this picture. It's
Yeah.
and he has this sort of like very flowery way which Bob Ross explained
Yeah.
his
Yeah. Yeah.
paintings, but it's about sort of the lack of existence and soul and theft
Oh
of
yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
So you can create something, but it has no substance, no soul, no art
I'm not
direction,
saying
no
I'm not saying
vision.
that that's not what I'm saying. I'm
So
saying
you
the
cut me
piece
off
that
before I
you
finished. So using
sorry,
that as a
yeah,
point of inspiration is kind of weird. To use your inspiration point as this thing which can't really create what you would call in a traditional sense art. It can just sort of
yeah,
throw
I get I
algorithms back at you. It's
yeah,
very
I get
weird.
where you're going with this. It is weird, but I mean, people have been inspired by even stranger things than that.
Mm.
People have been inspired to create fantastic works of art you know, throughout the entirety of human history. Just, how do you define where an idea comes from? That's where it comes down to, because the human mind is very, very weird in its own right.
I will never understand it. It's the most complicated computer that'll ever exist.
I mean, you could literally
Um,
be sitting on a bus, just looking out the window, and your mind is completely vacant because you've had a hard day, and all of a sudden you got an idea for a story or a film or a piece of music or something like that, and it could be like a fantastic, brilliant thing, but it's come out of nowhere. Literally, you've just been sitting there going,
I mean, I think
"Oh,
that's the ultimate thing in the sense of AI. It's that coming from nowhere, which
exactly,
is the problem. It's is what is it using for? It creates all sorts of moral conundrums, not only just sort of like creative and intellectual and social and ecological
yeah,
conundrums. It
yeah,
also creates the conundrum of AI, these MLMs, let's call them as you
yeah,
call them, is scraping the internet for information according to what you feed it. So
yeah,
where is it getting the origin of these informations from? What are you consciously influenced by that this model is basically scraping data from?
yeah, exactly,
And are you basically committing plagiarism without realizing you are committing plagiarism? Because it
exactly.
doesn't create art from nothing, it creates art
No, it
from
doesn't.
data scraping.
Yeah. See, if you, as an artist, right, had an AI model that you basically fed your own artwork, and you've done like hundreds of images over the years, and
Mm.
these are all created by you, and they're all using, and this AI model just used your artwork to try and give you inspiration for a new picture. Yeah.
I don't really believe that though.
But this is the thing. See, follow me where I'm going with this.
No, I mean, I don't really believe that that's what Larian did. That kind of
No, well,
seems like
that's why
a.
I said that's what they said. That's why I
Mm.
qualified it with that's what they said. See, here's where I run into a problem with this whole thing, right? Um, you as a person are inspired by so much more than just the images you create. If you're an artist or a filmmaker or a musician, you're inspired by. I mean, if you're a musician, for example, you're inspired by sounds that you hear. Right. Let me give you an example. We were for international listeners or viewers. We have a place in this country called Greg's, right? And Rob and I were sitting in a Greg's one time.
They know about Greg's, Rob. They know about Greg's.
Anyway, Rob and I were sitting in a Greg's one time, and we kept hearing this strange sound. And I realized where the sound was coming from, and I froze. And Rob knows how much of a nerd I am when it comes to sounds. I love trying to capture new sounds and interesting sounds and stuff like that. And the sound of the door closing at Greg's, just closing on its own, was magnificent. And I immediately wanted to have a microphone with me just so I and have everyone shut the hell up just so I could record this sound.
You
And
are
I told you
special,
all,
though.
yeah, but I mean, there are people like me in the world. But the thing is, hearing that sound, hearing that sound creates a picture in my head of, a place, a time, an event, something like that. Not something that that has happened to me, but something that
Mm.
inspires me to see an image in my head. And some
Um,
people work like that.
it's smooth tack because there is.
Musicians, for example, I am going to finish. Musicians, for example, take inspiration from sounds or conversations or pictures that they
Oh,
see.
that's even more disturbing. The musicians thing because
See, this is where I was going.
Spotify has a whole league of non-existent musicians, and they are
Yeah,
being pushed inordinately by the algorithm. So you can't
yeah,
really ignore it, even if you want to ignore it, because it's that prevalent.
yeah.
It was one of the bands. I can't
I
remember the name of it because it's kind of like this evil, soulless thing which is just infecting music. Like, let's just be honest. Spotify, we talked about before. Musicians can't make ends meet.
Yeah,
It costs. I think it's like 0.0005 pence per play,
yeah,
something like that. And the algorithm is pushing this stuff, which is just somebody writing a prompt in some software, and
Yeah,
they could make thousands of pounds more than a band could through that means, without none of the talent, none of the inspiration, none of the grind, none of the graft, and none of the capability of doing live music. That's just
yeah,
I'll stand. There's usually like a line where you can defend something on other aspects of AI art. It's
yeah.
usually a difficult argument to make if you're just being sort of like in the sense of making an argument for a debate or
Hmm.
trying to be contrarian. Those arguments are there to be found if you really dig for them. But in the case of AI music, there is no argument to be made. It is absolutely without silver lining as far as um, defending it. Really,
Yeah.
it's vile.
Oh, yeah. But well, there is no but. I
And
don't like
especially
AI
when
music.
there's musicians like household name musicians who can't afford to tour in Europe, which is a Brexit thing as well. But when platform things are not paying musicians and they're pushing AI art instead of these musicians who can't afford to actually continue making music,
Let's
and
call it what it is.
bands
Let's
have
call it what it
quit
is.
because they can't
Yeah.
afford it. I find this morally disgusting.
Let's call it what it is. Okay. They've already coined the phrase AI slop because it is. But I want to get rid of the of calling it AI fully. So let's call it MLM slop. Yeah. It's MLM slop. Machine learning model
And let's
slop.
just get rid of that and call it exploitative slop,
Yeah.
because in this context it is.
Well, I mean, all of it is anything that's defined as AI slop currently is exploitative slop. That's all it is.
Mm,
It's just basically, and this is the thing. I mean, what was it? What was that country? That country. I don't even want to call them artists. They're not an artist because they don't exist. Was it Rusty Nail or something like that?
I don't know.
Who was top of the Spotify AI
It's the one I was
chart?
alluding to, but I couldn't remember the name because I'm not committing memory to remember an AI band's name.
I only remember it because it came on the news, and I just happened to be channel hopping, and I thought, what? Why are you talking
Hmm.
about this? Why are you giving this any kind of screen time whatsoever? But it was Rusty Nail or something like that, something rusty,
And I'll
something that
just
you
say
probably got
this:
tetanus.
anybody who listened to it should be ashamed of themselves.
It was definitely something rusty, something that you'd probably get tetanus after touching it.
I'm pretty
Um,
militant on my opinions on this, but I genuinely think anybody who listens to that shit should be ashamed of themselves.
Now, don't get me wrong, I have listened to some AI stuff, right? And again,
Shame.
wait.
Shame.
There is no shame because what I listened to were actual experiments done by
Uh,
musicians. There were experiments done by musicians because they weren't sure how things were going to turn out. So what they wanted to do was see how it sounded first before they basically called in their musicians to be called in other musicians to work with them. And they were doing it was more kind of on the music fusion scene rather than anything else. It was basically mixing two completely different types of music together to see. And I can understand if you are, but I can understand from a certain perspective if you're wanting to hear if it sounds okay. But that's something that you discover as a musician while you're practicing.
Finding your
You
voice.
refine it. Yeah, you refine. Well, it's not even finding your voice. You're talking about established musicians who are wanting to see whether these two different styles or these two different instruments sound good together. But you find that by practicing. You
Yes.
find that by practicing together, and this is
Yes.
where this is why I'm
Because
saying I can understand it. Yeah,
music, as much as the recorded form is great,
yeah.
music is all about the live experience.
Live music is different. Live music hits different,
And it's all about
and I mean that literally. I mean that literally.
the creation of music is a live experiment.
Yeah,
It's not
it's
something you
not something that you
beep through like a system.
now. There is a I've forgotten his name. Damn it. Give me 1 second. I'll try and remember his name. He makes music with robots, right? And it's fascinating the way he does it, but he doesn't use AI. These are all kind of industrial factory robots, that sort of thing,
Oh, that's different.
right? Um, I honestly can't remember his name.
But I want to move tack because there's two other subjects in this world. The
Yeah,
next one is AI books, which is another thing in the
don't
realm
even get me don't even get me
comparable
started on them.
to AI music, as in there is no silver lining in this, because as far as I understand it, they're not readable even remotely, and they're all just horrific. But you can see them published in places where you get self-publishing platforms, like Amazon does self-publishing,
Don't
and
even get me started on
well,
these.
it was arena. I don't want to get into it too much because the movies is something that I have a bit more to say. But yeah, AI books.
I've got a lot to say about AI books. I
We can
have
loop around to
plenty to
this
say.
because this
Don't
these
worry.
can be these can be individual episodes down the line. But
Yeah, I know, but you've had your say on music. I want my say on books. I'll be very quick though, because right, you know that historically I have read some awful trash, badly translated
yes,
from like Chinese and Korean and Japanese, and even some Indian, some African languages, and from like Russian and Estonian and stuff like that. Read like really, really bad trash. We're talking like web novels, that sort of thing. AI books aren't even on that level. And usually with, I hate to say it, but there has been one industry that has been driving a lot of the web based technology forward for decades. It's
con.
been driving, yeah, it's been driving film technology and computer technology and all sorts of other technologies forward for decades, and that is the porn industry.
You can't
And a
say that;
lot
you'll get demonetized. Con. It's con.
corn industry, and that is the corn industry. And by corn, I don't mean like the plant that you grow that's quite tasty
Yes,
if
we
it's
know. We know.
barbecued, and I don't mean the band either. I have to specify.
Yes, it's the con industry. That's just
Yeah,
we know what we're
the corn
talking about.
industry. So yeah, we all know. Everybody knows what we're talking about. So anyway, they are one of the industries that all of the AI art that we're referencing, they're driving that forward. They're driving forward the realism part of it as well. They're also driving forward these books as well, because a lot of the books are coming. The technology behind them is coming because they're doing these works of fiction. I'm like,
I
well,
think they're still probably better than Morrissey's attempt at erotic fiction. But you know,
there are lots of things better than Morrissey's attempts at erotic. No, Morrissey's attempts at writing in general.
yes, I'll just put that out there. So there is something
But
worse than AI books, and it's Morrissey.
yeah, but this is the thing.
Just add a little bit of levity to it. So yeah,
There are plenty of budding writers out there who want a gig, but you have all of these. Yeah, I mean, all of this MLM slop in the form of in the written form coming out and being self-published, because they're not being self-published. They're not. It's not a self-published thing. You have these companies that are being set up to basically mass produce all this crap, because they know that if they put it on somewhere like Amazon, people will buy it as a Kindle ebook, and they only need to charge like 75 pence or a pound. Just whack an AI cover on that looks reasonably presentable, give it some kind of name, and people will buy it. So they're doing the old quick save method, pilot high, sell it cheap. That's literally all they're doing.
it's gross.
Yeah,
There's no there's like the craft of writing a book is an incredible
yeah.
patient one, and there's no silver lining to this either. It's just gross as
Well,
well.
I mean, for me, the foundation of any good story is the world that you build for it, right? Every story has to take place somewhere, and whether that world is like a one room location for a gripping tale of a relationship going sour or something like that, doesn't matter. You're still creating a world. Now, that's the one thing that none of these language models, none of these MLMs can do, is that world building. None of them can do it, which is why it all reads like crap.
Mm. Okay, so these are all sort of touching on these topics because we can't stick on
Yeah,
any one for too long.
exactly.
So, so,
It's
so
dense. All of it is.
moving to movies. Movies is a complicated one um, because there's multiple layers to it. There's the script writing, which is what
Yeah.
some of the big studios are going for. There's rumors that WWE, I know it's not filmmaking, but there's rumors that WWE is planning their episodes with AI.
See, the script writing part of it is. Oh, I have so much to say on that one.
So I think we have to return to each of these individual
Yeah,
topics.
yeah,
But on the more basic level and the visual level, there has been some AI movies.
yes,
There's been the world's first like movie made exclusively with AI. I think it's a Malaysian movie, if I remember correctly, and most of it is every shot lasts about 8 seconds tops because that's the most that AI can manage, and it's
yeah,
always with the actor facing the camera. And
yeah,
apparently, to call it unwatchable would be giving the term unwatchable fit way too much credit.
yep,
And that's out in cinemas in Malaysia. And if I remember correctly, there's a new one being made in Japan with voice acting by established actors, which again I can't see ending well because these are platforms that operate on 8 seconds, and it's not 8 seconds of stuff which they've shot and made and developed. It's 8 seconds of stuff which is cribbing the internet again and cycling images which are stolen.
Do you know?
And that's without getting into sort of the environmental elements that we talked about
There's an
in
interesting
the
point
previous
you just
episode.
made there. Just to clarify something here. You were talking about the character's always facing the camera, so it's always looking at you. Yeah,
Hmm.
there are a lot of things that. So one of the telltale signs,
Or just on that
apparently,
thing, there's
yeah,
lots of influences that are AI only, and you will never be able to tell
yeah.
because of stuff like
Um,
that.
One of the things that's apparently a telltale sign to see if something is AI is basically is not just if the character's always looking at you, but also if in other scenes, right, the character's body is turned, but you don't see the head. Because
Mhm.
apparently what happens is if you've basically trained it so the character is always looking, no matter what position the body takes, the character will always turn their head to try and look at the camera. So what they
Yeah.
have to do is basically, but you can tell from like the line, the body shape and the line of a character whether their head is turned to the camera or not, because their shoulders will basically take an angle. So even when a character is supposed to be moving away from the camera, they'll be moving away from the camera at an angle that makes it look as though they're
Hmm.
still looking over the shoulder.
But in the case of these movies, I don't think it can really. I don't think they'd be a success because the amount of backlash against even just an image which is made
Yeah,
with AI in the background was massive. So the idea of something being made like exclusively with AI or with one of these AI actors like Nelly Tarwood,
Tilly
um,
Norwood. Tilly Norwood.
which
I was about to say let's talk about Tilly Norwood because
which
that's a
is really, really evil when you break it down. I mean, one, who is the model of this girl? Because that person exists. It's using the likenesses of multiple people to create this new girl to basically be a girl in movies, which people can do whatever they want to.
yeah.
And that
I
person
mean,
has no agency. And it means they can do horrible, horrific things to this female avatar which can
what
only really manifest in some pretty vile and sexist ways.
Well, this is the thing. The creator of Tilly Norwood, I got some details on Tilly Norwood. The character was created and developed by Dutch actor comedian Elaine van der Velden with her company Particle 6 and their AI division, Zikoya, in 2025. Right now, the character also received offers of representation from talent agencies, some of whom already knew that it was an AI character, and apparently it was created to explore the possibilities of AI in media, not necessarily to replace human actors in all roles. Which is where I question the wording a little bit. Not necessarily to replace human actors in all roles. Um, so Yeah,
I mean, that leads into the whole thing with the protests in LA a
yeah,
year or two ago, where they wanted to basically have extras appearance on
yeah,
record and use them as background artists without paying them.
yeah.
Um, in perpetuity, just recycle their images and their likeness, and again do whatever with that image that they want because they've paid once, robbing the entire background artists, as they're called, I think, of a outlet, of a way to make money.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just that. I mean, it was that was only one part. That was like one spike of the iceberg, propping up out of the water that people saw. There was another one that a lot of people overlooked because everyone was talking about the background actors, and that was the dead people, the actors
Yeah,
who died.
that's bad as
You
well.
know, using their likeness to appear in new films are using their voice to do voiceover work. James Earl Jones is a prime example. They wanted to record his voice and reuse his voice in loads of different things. And I'm like, why?
Because it's gross,
Yeah.
and
No, I know it's gross.
the studio system doesn't want to pay anybody. So
No.
if it can do something where it can exploit something and get as much of it as it can for as little as it can to maximize profits, it will.
See, I would happily, if I had the money, I would happily pay, right? Uh, Providing the Godfrey estate agreed, and they would get obviously they would get the licensing fee and stuff like that to use Gilbert Gottfried's voice for the role of every dead actor whose voice work needed to be done. And I would pay the Gottfried estate, you know, for every time it was used, every time we used Gilbert's voice, but it would cover all of them. So you were only allowed to use Gilbert Gottfried's voice in if you were going to use a dead actor's voice in anything to do any kind of voiceover. That would change the way some of those movies would work.
Yeah,
I
because he was
mean,
hilarious.
I mean, Darth Vader would sound very different
Yeah,
in
not
future
for the
Star
start of the
Wars
character.
films.
But yeah, but it's a mixed thing with AI in movies because there's
Yeah,
technical considerations as well within movie making, which are
yeah,
basically indistinguishable from um, AI. Stuff like denoising, stuff like making
yeah.
masks to edit with, stuff like just all these sort of background editing processes, which are basically becoming more
Yeah,
ingrained with AI. They're not robbing any information. It is the aggressive
this,
machine
the,
learning that just basically scrubs data and information that you present it with.
yeah. But I mean, in the when it comes to the production side of things and the editing side of things, I think this is where, like in the last episode, I was talking about engineering, medicine, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, I mean
When it
every movie uses AI in the editing process. You
exactly
can't not because it is part of every editing piece of
because
software.
it smooths out a lot of the donkey work, a lot of the laborious tasks that you would have had to have done by hand and by eye. You know
Yeah, like upscaling of images,
exactly.
AI.
Yeah. Can you imagine
It's
trying to upscale a movie by hand and by eye?
it takes years.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't see a film. You wouldn't see the film you wanted to get upscaled for like a decade.
And this is all bespoke software. This is not just saying
Yeah.
ChatGPT upscale Star Wars on me, please.
No, you can't. That doesn't work. But this is the thing, and this is why I feel that these MLMs, they are very very specifically built for a purpose. The ones that are used in fields like audiovisual production and editing, used in engineering, used in medicine. They're built for a purpose. They're a tool for a purpose. They're not classed as AI. They're classed as a tool, like a
Mm.
hammer or a saw or a calculator. I mean, things like that. They are
Or,
tools.
or AI motivated subtitles because shit, I'm not
Yeah,
doing all the subtitles. Screw that for a laugh. It takes hours.
yeah, I know. Um, and this is the thing. Uh, when we started back on radio, I didn't know anything about sound or anything like that. I knew nothing. I learned it all, through practice and trial and error, trial and error. AI didn't exist at that point. So it was literally just looking at tutorials, reading up on stuff, and learning it. Yeah. But now, apparently, there are things that can be done using AI. And I'm like, well, where were you 15 years ago? Why weren't you there 15 years ago? Do you know how long I worked on this damn episode? It took me
Yeah.
hours.
But I think the fundamental thing is any art which is created with AI
Yeah. Yeah.
is bad. It's a very
Yeah.
absolutist
Well, I mean,
term.
the thing is, I don't, I would hesitate to even call it creation. It's not. Creation comes from nothing.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
these ideas that are used with AI models is bad.
Yeah.
These executions that are created with AI models is bad. It's an absolutist sort of way of looking at it, but there is
Yeah.
no nuance to this because
Yeah.
it's all theft. It's it's kind of like the old what is it, Marxist manifesto: ownership is theft.
Yeah. But
It's
this is the thing. I mean, even if you're looking at just creating, say you're looking at say I wanted to create a portrait of you, Rob, for example. Yeah.
I try to use it because apparently there's this software that if you want a headshot and you don't have the means to get a headshot, you put your a couple of images through AI and it'll create something that looks like you but is like professional and official. And I did it and it created something, and I don't know who he is. He scares me. He peers deep into my soul. I call him Business Rob. He's terrifying. Don't anger Business Rob because he will come for you, he will find you, and he will get you.
I thought I was business, Rob.
No, you are Business Rob. Business Rob is terrifying, Rob. Oh my God. I Business Rob terrifies me.
Oh, right. And I just want to throw this out there, okay? Because this wasn't mentioned in the previous episode, but it is kind of an addendum to the previous episode, just to round this off, right? Um, they have found there is research that's actually ongoing, but they have found that there is a vast doubling of uh, of kids in school who are using AI to do like coursework, homework, things like that, because they're
Mhm.
not having to use their brains. They have also found, this is research that was conducted in the States, they found that kids from the age of 2 onwards, if you give them plenty of screen time, then it basically prevents the growth of white matter. And white matter is basically important for your brain's nerves to, because it protects the nerves in your brain, all those connections in your brain. So it stunts the growth of your brain. Now you combine those two things together, and you're looking at potentially an entire generation of people who are actually nowhere near as intelligent as the generations that came before.
Ah, America.
I'm talking about globally.
Yeah, no, but I was trying to lighten the mood and make a joke.
I'm just saying that, maybe that's the reason why some people have started saying that that this MLM slop or exploitation slop is okay.
No. And on
But yeah,
that, if you disagree, if you agree, if there's a particular thing that you find especially egregious, do comment below, and let us know, and we'll be happy to chat it out with you. But until next time, please
yeah.
do click like, please do click subscribe, and join us for the next episode of the Geek Show, which is probably going to be Rob just ranting at me about sci-fi shit. But
It will be sci-fi shit, but not quite ranting at you, because
but
there are
join
things
us,
that I feel are going to
join us for
happen, but
that.
not right now.
Join us for that,
Yeah.
and we'll see you in the next one. And thanks for watching.
Bye.